Rounds of thunderstorms roll across Kentucky on this first alert severe weather day. We are tracking those for the potential of more heavy rain. I'll have the very latest coming up.
A man accused of carjacking and robberies in multiple eastern Kentucky counties has been arrested. How police caught up with him ahead.
The case against a Lexington man accused of killing and dismembering his ex-girlfriend is heading to a grand jury. The latest from court coming up.
WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Welcome to WKYT News at 4. Andrea Walker and Amber Philpott reporting. It might be a new month, but it's the same old stormy weather pattern we've been dealing with for the past few months.
We've been here before. The ground is still pretty wet from last week's rain, which means heavy showers today could lead to some high water threats. That's why we've declared today a first alert severe weather day. We want to check in now with meteorologist Jim Caldwell. Hi, Jim.
Hey, guys, the thing about it is it doesn't take a lot of rain at this point with as saturated as the ground currently is to get into some flash flood situations out there. So we could run into some high water here over the next few hours, especially now, at least within the next little bit into parts of eastern Kentucky. We could certainly run into that out there, and then we could also run into some back here in central Kentucky as well, maybe to our south. Let's track some of that here on our Defender Radar Network, where we have some of that activity rolling into parts of Rockcastle County and also back toward Waynesburg, just south of Stanford, and into Pulaski County, some of the heavy rain. A little more to the east, you can see in Lee and Owsley counties tracking some of that heavy rain, loads of lightning, and then the broader view showing you that swath of moderate rainfall generally now working its way from parts of Perry County all the way up to the Kentucky and Ohio state line, kind of the general swath there of just general moderate rainfall now moving its way through this area, and we'll head off into West Virginia soon. We're going to be tracking this for more potential off to the west, though, as we're in that type of setup where more of these thunderstorms will ride along this boundary and continue to bring in showers and thunderstorms. We look ahead here as we get into tomorrow and into the afternoon and evening hours. More thunderstorms coming in from the northwest, dropping in over the same real estate that's been impacted already with rounds of heavy rain. It's a threat that will continue through at least midweek, and then it changes into a completely different setup, but brings more rounds of rain. I'll break it all down with the full forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. We are tracking a developing situation now in Powell County. That's where a lightning strike has caused problems at a substation for the Tennessee gas pipeline. The emergency management director says a lightning strike hit a gas exchange at the site on Highway 15 near the Mountain Parkway. Officials say the pipeline shut down when it was hit, and there is no threat of an explosion. When the interchange was hit, an oily substance spewed into the air, covering the road and a nearby home. Emergency officials are now on scene. We'll have more from Powell County beginning on WKYT News at 5, so we'll keep you posted on that story. A southern Kentucky man that was on the run from police for days is now in jail.
Timothy Lawson appeared in court this morning. Police say his relatives helped capture him. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has more from Clay County.
This is the Oneida section of Clay County. This is where police say they believe that Timothy Lawson caused a lot of the problems while he was on the run from him, committing a number of different crimes and committing several crimes against the people that live in this part of Clay County. Now, police say the deputies were called Saturday night by Lawson's stepfather. They say he actually hog-tied him when Lawson went to that house on Stable Branch Road. Relatives say Lawson was actually discovered hiding in a barn. Police say Lawson was not going to surrender.
What did he say to you?
Just that pretty much that the last 3 or 4 weeks has been a blur, where he was so drugged out of his mind he don't even know half of what the stuff that he had done.
Lawson remains in jail. We did call the jail to see if he wanted to talk to us. He declined. He is facing a total of 9 different charges, including robbery, theft, and kidnapping. We're going to have a lot more on what happened Saturday night and what happened today coming up at 5 o'clock. But for now, in Clay County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police say Lawson will face other charges in several other counties, including Owsley and Perry.
The case against a man accused of a gruesome murder is moving forward. 24-year-old Patrick Jones's case was waived to the grand jury during a preliminary hearing this morning. Police say he killed his ex-girlfriend, 20-year-old Haley Bourgeois, dismembered her and put her body into 2 dumpsters along Malibu Drive. He pled not guilty last month. We're working on a number of other stories for you on WKYT starting at 4:30.
Sam Dick joins us now with a look at some of the news in progress. Sam?
Good afternoon. The staff and volunteers at God's Food Pantry in Somerset are upset after someone used produce they were giving away to families in need to damage a neighboring business over the weekend. According to the food pantry's executive director, sometime between Friday night and Saturday morning, someone used the free fruits and vegetables to break the window of Summer Night's Cruise warehouse next door. The shattered glass scratched a car inside the business as well.
We work so hard. I know the pantry works so hard to provide the services they do, and we work so hard for the community service that we do, and it's just disheartening to have the damage done for no good reason.
We'll explain why God's Food Pantry decided not to file a police report coming up at 5:30. Lexington's newest high school will not open for another year, but some people already have some ideas of what it should be called. A former co-worker of a murdered Lexington firefighter wants to see the city's newest high school named in her honor. Brenda Cowan was the first African-American female on the Lexington Fire Department and the first African-American female firefighter in this country to be killed on the job. The school along Winchester Road is set to open next fall. Other name ideas include honoring abolitionist Frederick Douglass, Nobel Prize-winning biologist and Lexington native Thomas Hunt Morgan, or pioneering Lexington High School basketball coach S.T. Roach. We'll have more on the new high school name debate on WKYT News at 5 o'clock. And Oscar winner Matthew McConaughey is the new face of Wild Turkey Bourbon. According to the company website, he was named the creative director at Wild Turkey because of his great storytelling ability. In response, he said, quote, "I found a story here in Kentucky. I found a story here in the Russells. A story here in the Wild Turkey that deserves to be told." McConaughey is not the first celebrity, by the way, to endorse Kentucky's bourbon industry. Mila Kunis signed on to be the face of Jim Beam back in 2014. That's a look at some of the news in progress on this busy Monday. Andrea and Amber, back to you.
Sam, thank you. Now to some stories making headlines across the nation at 4. The CDC has issued a new advisory that says pregnant women should not travel to the so-called Zika transmission area in Florida. And it says pregnant women who live there should take steps to prevent mosquito bites and sexual spread of the virus. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued the advisory today after Florida Governor Rick Scott said there are 10 new infections of the Zika virus likely transmitted by mosquitoes, bringing the total in the state to 14. Donald Trump is facing a growing backlash for his comments about the family of a Muslim American soldier killed while serving in Iraq.
The controversy has overshadowed another foreign policy issues as Trump and Hillary Clinton sprint toward Election Day. Craig Boswell is at the White House with more.
Donald Trump gets back on the campaign trail as a feud grows larger between the candidate and the family of a Muslim American soldier killed in Iraq.
We want to maintain our dignity. We want to maintain my family's dignity, my son's dignity, and sacrifice.
It's been about 4 days since Khizr Khan criticized Trump at the Democratic National Convention. Trump tweeted Monday, "Mr. Khan, who does not know me, viciously attacked me from the stage of the DNC and is now all over TV doing the same. Nice."
We will continue to speak up until this candidate behaves in a dignified manner deserving of the candidacy of this office.
Trump's former campaign manager defended the billionaire.
If Donald Trump were the president, Captain Khan would still be alive today because we never would have entered the Iraq war in the first place.
Trump has often used Clinton's vote in support of the Iraq war to bolster his argument that she's unfit to be president. Clinton is making the same claim about Trump for saying Russian President Vladimir Putin won't send troops into Ukraine.
He's not going into Ukraine, okay? Just so you understand. He's not going to go into Ukraine.
Russia continues to violate Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
David Kramer dealt with Russia as Deputy Assistant Secretary of State during the George W. Bush administration.
He's either getting terrible advice or he has no understanding of the kind of Russia we're dealing with today.
Russia annexed Crimea, a part of Ukraine, in 2014 and sent troops into eastern Ukraine in November of that same year. Craig Boswell, CBS News, The White.
Trump's campaign chair Paul Manafort worked for ousted Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych for about a decade. Yanukovych fled the country during the revolution in 2014 and has been granted asylum in Russia by President Vladimir Putin. Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell released a statement on Captain Khan saying, quote, "Captain Khan was an American hero, and like all Americans, I'm grateful for the sacrifices that selfless young men like Captain Khan and their families have made in the war on terror. And I agree with the Khans and families across the country that a travel ban on all members of a religion is simply contrary to American values."
Big layoffs from one of the country's largest companies. That's ahead in WKYT Money Watch.
And Disney wants to track their visitors through their shoes. Details coming up on WKYT News at 4.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Welcome back. Microsoft is cutting 4% of its workforce. That's about 4,700 jobs around the world. That begins today's Money Watch.
More than a third of those will be from its smartphone business, many of them former workers at Nokia, which Microsoft bought 2 years ago. With airfares at record lows, don't wait to book that next trip. A survey of 2,000 baby boomers found that one of their biggest regrets is not traveling enough. The census-wide survey was commissioned by British Airways, but confirms what other research has found. Older people often regret not traveling more when they could.
Instagram is making some changes to help reduce online harassment. Users will be able to filter comments on their post or turn off comments completely. High-profile accounts will be the first to get the new features. And Disney may soon track visitors at their amusement parks through their shoes. Disney filed a patent for a system that uses a robot with a camera to keep track of which rides are most popular and the route in which people get from ride to ride. As of now, Disney says there are no immediate plans to use that system.
It looks like an ATM, but it doesn't dispense money. It dispenses bread. This new vending machine in San Francisco serves up freshly baked baguettes on demand all day long. Benoit Irv is the founder of La Bread Express. He says the Bay Area is a natural place for his first U.S. machine. He says the machine is loaded with partially baked loaves that are finished in the machine's oven a few at a time. And more restaurants are planning on using similar technology. Next up on the menu, hamburger machines. A fully automated hamburger restaurant is set to open soon, also in San Francisco.
I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about at Images Model and Talent Agency, where this young group just returned from New York City. We'll tell you why when we return here on WKYT.
And we are tracking more rounds of thunderstorms across southern and eastern Kentucky, but the activity is firing up to our west, headed right back in the same direction again. We'll break it all down coming up. We have been tracking showers and thunderstorms for the past several hours. Loads of lightning coming with some of these storms as well, and heavy rain all showing up on our Defender radar network out there right now. The bulk of the heavier widespread precipitation is now into eastern Kentucky. You can see some of that showing up there. A little less lightning. It's not as intense as some of the other thunderstorms that are going up. It's just a general big mass of moderate and occasionally heavy rainfall that we're tracking from southern Ohio all the way back down into Hindman there in Knott County. It looks like crossing back over into Perry County as well. So plenty of moderate and occasionally heavy rain. Same thing happening as we get down and around Somerset into Science Hill and back up toward Rockcastle County into Mount Vernon. Loads of lightning there with a lot of heavy rain now falling along I-75 during the Rockcastle County segments of it. Lee, Owsley counties, northern parts of Perry County getting in on some of the heavy rain as well here. More thunderstorms are trying to come together out to our west. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings around the Paducah area, but notice the trajectory here and how they are expected to travel back toward the east and right toward us. And there's plenty of energy out there to keep these thunderstorms alive and well and going. So we're watching the western skies as well and the northwest over the next few days because that's the general flow of energy. This is our high-resolution model, and you can see the thunderstorms rolling through here later this evening and tonight, and then that next wave, that complex of thunderstorms we're tracking out into western Kentucky, getting in here past midnight and beyond. We're at 4 o'clock in the morning. This model only goes out 12 hours because it updates every single hour to give you the best possible forecast it can and a good handle on the situation. But we're still tracking some showers and thunderstorms even at 4 o'clock in the morning, more heavy rain potential. So there you see our concerns. Not only that, but we have a frontal boundary that's just sitting here, and it's going to sit for a few days. Along that boundary, the flow will come in from the northwest. It sent the first round of thunderstorm clusters in here today, and we get into tomorrow, we're dealing with another round of thunderstorms sweeping into the area. Same thing will happen as we get into Wednesday as well. It's a very stormy northwest flow setting up. Thunderstorm clusters will drop in on Kentucky. Some of these, just like today, out to our west, we'll be dealing with strong thunderstorms, maybe potentially severe in some isolated locations, with heavy rain potential continuing to grow. And with the ground already saturated from last week's rains, we are still going to be concerned about flooding and flash flooding. Sure, if you get caught into one of these thunderstorms, you're going to have some high winds, so we'll elevate the risk for that. But generally, hail and tornadic activity remain the lowest of our concerns. It's all about flooding and flash flooding as we progress through the rest of the evening around here with those thunderstorms. Not only today, but keep in mind that we're going to be dealing with these clusters again tomorrow and Wednesday, and another setup as we get toward the end of the week here. That, yeah, it includes thunderstorms. You can see them right there because they are hanging out with us tomorrow all the way through your Monday and as we go into next week as well. Don't get locked in on that heat either, because these thunderstorms, they'll knock those highs down quickly in many cases. All right, we know it's a stormy day out there. What's happening in the traffic world? Let's see what Officer Don's got for us.
Well, we start off with at least one collision. This one is outbound Versailles Road at Village Drive. Now, police are working that. We have a lane blocked, but not much of a backup to deal with because of that one at the moment. We're going to keep an eye on that throughout the afternoon. Also checking Hamburg traffic right now through that construction zone on the outer loop of Man o' War from Pleasant Ridge over to Helmsdale. It looks like we're managing to get past that okay with just a slight slowdown. A little crowded there, but not a real big problem. Drive times this afternoon to Nicholasville still averaging about 13 minutes. Normal stuff toward Versailles, and on 75 southbound across the Clays Ferry Bridge into Madison County. Looks like about 23 minutes. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Officer Don. A group of young Central Kentuckians just returned from New York City, where they were hoping to make all their dreams come true.
Our Deanne Stevens is out and about today, joining us from Images Modeling Agency to explain. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We are here at Images Model and Talent Agency, where I am learning how to strike a pose. Am I doing it right, guys? Yeah. What do you think? I got it? I don't think I have it like these kiddos do. All of this group and many more just returned from New York City over the weekend for the IMTA. What is the IMTA? Those of us who've never been in the modeling world. Janie Head is with us. Tell us about it.
Thank you, Dan. It is the International Modeling and Talent Association competition, and they have a competition in New York in July and in LA in January.
And I understand that Kentucky was represented well through Images.
Oh my goodness, we are so proud of these people, and these contestants, my contestants, worked for 4 straight months nonstop to prepare for the competition, and they represented Images and Kentucky beautifully.
So how does it work when you're in New York? All right, guys, go ahead and strike another pose. Take it down, Anna. Go ahead and show Dean. Tell me what they're doing now and how it works when they're in New York.
Okay, this is a team fashion competition, and we prepared a Hunger Games routine.
Okay.
And we competed against all the other schools from actually worldwide at this competition. And we were first runner-up, and we have just a sampling of our people that were there, and they were just amazing. We were first runner-up, which is just, we were hoping to win, of course, but we were satisfied with first runner-up.
Absolutely. And listen, a lot of these kiddos here brought home some of their very own individual awards. We're going to talk to them coming up in just a bit. But for folks that are watching going, right, I want to take part in this, I want my child to take part in this, you guys have something else coming up.
We are doing an audition for Los Angeles, is August the 27th. It's an open audition. There's no charge from ages 3 to mature adult.
And what do they need to do?
They need to call and set up an appointment, 273-2301, and Shay will answer the phone, and she'll tell you exactly what you need to do. It's very simple, very easy, and a lot of fun.
And they better learn how to strike a pose, right? Yeah, now, coming up at 4:50, we'll talk to some of the kiddos who came up with some fabulous awards. Congratulations to the Images Model and Talent Agency returning from New York for the awards they brought home. More, we're going to do our Hunger Games fashion show, right? Yeah. That's when we return here at 4:50. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about. Back to you guys. Making us Kentucky proud. The reason you should be picky about your protein, that's ahead in Better Living. And new information about trampoline park injuries. That's coming up right here on WKYT.
Tomorrow's Mega Millions jackpot is $25 million, and Wednesday's Powerball jackpot is $40 million.
Now it's time for Better Living. Health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. As trampoline parks gain in popularity, a new study in pediatrics shows injuries are skyrocketing. Researchers found there are nearly 7,000 park-related emergency room visits in 2014. That's up from less than 600 in 2010. Researchers found that teenage boys are most likely to get hurt, usually with lower extremity sprains and fractures. Researchers at Duke University have developed a handheld device that takes high-resolution images of children's retinas. They say the device will provide data about how a child's retina develops and lead to a better understanding of how certain diseases impact a child's vision. And plant-based protein may be better for you than protein found in meat. That's according to research at Harvard University that found plant protein is associated with a lower risk of death, especially for people who smoke, drink alcohol, or are overweight. Smartphone, tablets, a huge television, if it has a screen, chances are we love it. A new study takes a look at how much time Americans spend glued to those screens. Andrew Spencer reports.
It's no secret we can spend hours on our mobile devices checking out trending videos or at home binge watching a new season of our favorite show. But have you ever wondered exactly how much time we spend on a daily basis glued to our screens? A new Nielsen study shows that adults in the U.S. devote 10 hours and 39 minutes, yes, 10 hours and 39 minutes a day to media consumption alone. And that includes on all devices, tablets, smartphones, computers, TVs, DVRs, and gaming systems. And what the report does not incorporate is the time spent doing other things like texting and taking and sharing photos. The study was conducted during the first quarter of this year and showed a 1-hour increase over 2015. And despite the fact that about 80% of adults have smartphones, radio and TV are still the go-to options for consuming media. According to the study, nearly 95% of adults have an HD television at home and spend nearly 5 hours a day watching movies or TV shows. The report also found that popular streaming services like Netflix and Hulu were in just as many homes with a DVR. For today's Health Minute, I'm Andrew Spencer.
The news is just now getting started. Here's Sam Dick and Amber Philpott with what we're working on at 4:30.